Alright, here's a video review for the Iron Factory IF EX-04 City Commander. Their kind of Legends version of Ultra Magnus. And his alt mode here is based a little bit off of his IDW, alt mode, early IDW at any rate. Here. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. But yeah, so it comes with several of the accessories that they have released with previous figures. You can see the shields there that came with both their turret and manacle, and I think one may have even come with their blaster and his cassette set, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, so you get a couple of rifles here, and in black. These are the handles for his hammer. You get one black and one white. And here's his pistol. And I thought there was supposed to be like a white gun that came with him as well as the white handle, and I did not get that. So I'll have to double check and see if that was intended, or maybe it was just supposed to be the white handle that come with it. I've seen some pre-release shots that came with white pistols, and some only had the black pistols, and so there's a little bit of confusion as to what is actually supposed to be in that box. This is what I got in mind. There may also have supposed to have been at least a white version of this pistol, but I'm not sure. I'll check on that. So yeah, these are, like I said, I'm not going to dwell on these. These are the modular shield and rifles and missile pods that have come, like I said, came with turrets and manacle, work with the Metroplex, and have been included a couple of times. And like I said, they can break down into smaller weapons that you can post on City Commander here. There's a couple of peg holes on either side here. There's one here. There's one up here in the middle and the top. If you take off these missiles, they can peg in here to the front of these posts up here. And even if you have, these actually have holes here that can plug on. These can plug onto the front as well. Everything on this is very tight. That's one of the things I was going to mention in the review. It pegs together very well. Some of the stuff is almost too tight, so it's a little scary. Anyway, like I said, I've covered these before. They're the same little things. I'm not going to dwell on them too much. We'll set them off to the side along with all of these pieces. The instructions say to have whichever hammer handle you're using pegs onto the side of the vehicle mode right there. And you can do that. I usually just leave it off. So yeah, so here he is. This wheel right here rolls. These wheels right here on the red piece. Everything else is just a painted on solid wheel. They're fake wheels. So I don't even know why they bothered making these roll when none of the others do. But there you go. Other than that, he's kind of a solid chunk vehicle here. But not bad for a little micro Magnus. And he fits and he's to scale. Mostly to scale. He looks good with the Titan Metroplex if you have that, or Utopia if you have that one as well. So yeah, and he fits very well with, he scales very well with DX9's figures, their War and Pocket series. So there's a lot of lines you can use him with. So to transform him, we just pull out. You can see these little slots here on the side. This just slides up and out. Again, that slides very tight. This is the hammerhead, and you can take that and either one of these hammer pieces, I'm going to use the white one just because, you take it, you kind of peg this into here, and you can see that there's a slot here. You fold these down so that slot sits right in there, and just kind of clamp the hammer around that. And there he's got his war hammer. I'm going to have this pushed all the way in. There we go. We'll set that off to the side. As for the robot itself, the hands actually peg onto some pegs up here, so you want to lift those up off the pegs like that. These wheels right here, again, untab them. All the slots and pegs on these things are very tight. These unpeg this. I'm sure that will wear down with time, but come on. It's just wedged in there. And it's just this tiny little tab. That tiny little tab just gets wedged in there. So there's lots of it's really tight. But you fold these around onto the feet. Then these come up, extend them like that, and then fold the legs up like that, and split them. Come on. There we go. Oh, popped his leg off. I wish these hip joints were as tight as these tabs that hold everything together. They're not loose. I mean, like you can see, he can hold a pose. They're not floppy in any way. They just they pop off. So yeah, take care of that. Arms flip out around like this. You take the missiles off here. and just to show you how tight these are, you can see they actually pulled off some of the paint from inside the, actually can't see because the white is very blinding, but you can kind of see right there, you can see like a line of the blue paint from where they were pegged onto his shoulders, because they're just really, at first I thought maybe these had been put in while the paint was wet, and then when I went to stick them up here and these peg holes up here, I realized that they're just very, very tight. So lift this up, flip up the front hood of the car, of the cab, and then this whole piece rotates down onto his back like this. So he does kind of have the same butt flap as the other, the big Magnus that was out, but it doesn't look as bad because it kind of sits higher up on his waist. These come around and peg into the sides here. You can see there's a little tab here that pegs into the side of the cab. And there he is. You just put these missiles back into his shoulders. And there you've got him in robot mode. So very simple, not a hard transformation at all. Aside from, again, like I said, the stiffness of the, there we go, of the the tabs there. Like I said, these little tiny tabs, like you can see that you can pull off some of the paint there. These little tiny slots, they tab together very well. Like he's pretty solid. You're not gonna risk him falling apart on you. So that's a plus, I guess. But transforming it can be a little bit of a pain. So yeah, so here he is. He's got a ball jointed head. Up here, he's got ball joint shoulders. He's got a bicep swivel, hinge elbows. Does not appear to have a wrist swivel. It's just there. He does have a waist swivel, which is nice. Ball joint hips. He does have a thigh swivel, although again, getting it to work without, you kind of have to put some pressure inward on the hip to rotate the thigh out, or you're going to pop it off that ball joint, because again, the ball joint's loose, or at least loose enough to pop off, but the hip joint itself is a little stiff. He's got hinged knees. He does have ankle tilts, which is nice. Not a huge range on the, well, actually, it's more than I thought. Decent range of ankle tilt there. Not so much forward and back movement. It's there, but just because of the sculpt and the way the foot is, you don't get a whole lot of movement out of it, which is a little bit of a shame. It would be nice to have a little bit more foot. But because his feet are so big and solid, you can get some pretty sturdy poses out of him, even without a huge range of that forward and back motion on the feet. So yeah, there he is with that. He can hold, again, any of the rifles that come with him. That one, here's the official pistol that he comes with. Right there, and you can see it's got peg holes on the side, peg holes on his forearms. So you can really kind of arm him up if you wish, with all of the various missile pods and guns and armaments and rifles that he comes with. Give him a shield or whatever. And the hammer, you said it's got a hinge here in the middle. So I got that on backwards. Rotate that around. You can lift that up in order to get it into his hand, because it's you can't really peg it straight in because of the way the arms are designed, but you can peg it in like that and then fold this around. So he's still holding it, and it looks okay. That's one of the better hammer designs I've seen from Magnus lately, in the fact that you can actually give him the illusion of going all the way through his hand, even though it doesn't physically do so. So yeah, it's a fun little toy. A little stiff. Like I said, if they're going to do rolling wheels, I wish they would have either done all of them rolling wheels or all of them fake wheels. It seems kind of a tease to have those two rolling wheels on either side there in the middle of the robot, or the middle of the vehicle, that, one, are kind of hidden by everything else. They kind of sit back. They're not the most noticeable wheels on the vehicle, and they're the ones that roll. So I don't know why they chose to make those mobile when they didn't do any of the rest mobile. And to be fair, the way this figure is designed and as small as he is, it would have been more difficult to make rolling wheels all over him that also could stand up to the test of time and play wear. They could have made them rolling, but I wouldn't. I don't know how much I trust them to stay on, or hold up to a standard regular play over time, being that tiny, and the axles you'd have to put in them to do it. Is it possible? Yes. I can kind of see why they didn't on a figure this size, because you can see he's about, there's my hand. He's about hand size. And I don't, like I said, I didn't bring any other. I meant to grab some DX9 toys. I wanted to bring Minimus Ambus in from the new Leader class figure, because I feel he'd be about the right size to go with Ultra Magnus here. And I meant to show him off, and just everything going on at home before I left. I just completely forgot to grab him. But here he is with a Legion class Robots in Disguise figure. There's Grimlock, just to give you an idea about how big he is. He's not super tiny. He's smaller than a deluxe but he's definitely larger than the Legends and the Legions that are out right now. So he's a great, like I said, he goes well with the War and Pocket line that's already out. He looks good with Windblade, Iron Factory's Windblade that they released recently. He scales very well with like the Titan class Metroplex, with Make Toys Utopia, the larger city bots. And I really like this scale of figures, like DX9's War and Pocket, because you're getting some really nice robot designs. This is a really nice looking Magnus here in robot mode. You're getting some nice designs, some innovative transformations without taking up as much shelf space. And I know sometimes the price seems to outweigh the size, but for what you're paying, you're getting a pretty decent quality product. And I'm really digging this new trend towards smaller scale figures, because a lot of companies are making combiners and they just keep making the combiners bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's neat from a scale perspective, but just from I'm a collector, I have a family, I only have so much space to display my toys. Bigger isn't always better. I got the sample, the last two test shots for Unique Toys Orden, their Abominus, their Hunger and their Windraiser. And the combiner looks great in combine mode. Again, test shots, so there's a little bit of floppiness and things like that, but we'll cover that in the review. But he's just really large, and it looks impressive, but when it comes time to find places on the shelf, like I don't know where I would stick him. So and they're trying to make him, they're getting bigger and bigger, and I'd much rather have a good solid toy that I can throw in a pocket, throw in a bag, take with me to mess with, than a big piece that if you're going to, it is really intended for display, and it looks impressive in a display, but that's pretty much where it's going to stay. It's not something I'm going to take around with me to mess with. And I like to have fun with my toys and not just throw them on a shelf and leave them there. And I feel like some of the toys are designed to do that, whereas these smaller toys like this are a lot more fun, and you get more enjoyment out of them, I feel, for the money. But anyway, there is Iron Factory's City Commander. It's a great little Magnus, and again, it'd be nice if it were $5 to $10 cheaper. I think would be a sweet spot for him, but I feel like they put the quality into it. It's worth the price. Just remember, work out your thumbs before you get them, because prying apart some of those tabs can be a pain.